Hi, I'm Nelson, and this is the Sir Nelson English School. In this school, we help you improve your reading, writing, speaking, and listening skills. We also help you to pass the IELTS test. In this particular video, we are going to focus on the IELTS Task 1. Task 1, the IELTS Writing Task 1 involves either describing a graph or writing a letter. In this particular video, we are going to learn how to describe trends in a graph. What is a graph? A graph can be a line graph, bar graph, a table, or a pie chart. You are given a graph or graphs, and you are expected to write a report. In that report, you are expected to describe trends or movements in graphs. What are these trends? What are these movements? The first one is to go up. If it is a line graph or a bar chart, a bar graph and a line graph, their appearance is different, but they are all showing trends. If you see a line like this, that is to go up. But we don't say to go up. In IELTS, you are not going to say the line went up. You are going to say, you are going to use a noun and a verb. Remember, you are describing a graph, but this is an English test. They are testing your ability to use nouns and verbs. For example, I want you to notice that the noun is an increase. The verb, increase. It is the same word, but when you add the article, it becomes an. An increase to increase. A rise to rise. A growth to grow. I want you to remember that when you are describing, you use either the past tense or the future, depending on the years given on the graph. Be careful. If you want to use a noun, there has to be an article. So when you are describing a graph, you must make sure that some of your sentences include a noun and others use a verb. Practice 1. Number 1, there was an increase in the price of oil. Number 2, the price of oil increased. Now, these two sentences mean exactly the same thing. But number 1 is using a noun, an increase. Number 2 is using a verb, increased. Different parts of speech, but same meaning. The IELTS Task 1 is testing your ability to use parts of speech. The first parts of speech that we are going to look at include a noun and a verb. Let's do some exercise. Arise. Arise that means this is a noun. So if you are to use a noun, you have to begin with there was. If the graph is in the future, then you say there will be. Now I want you to write the sentences in your book to practice the use of the verbs and nouns. If it is a noun, write a sentence. If it is a verb, write the sentence. Remember, the meaning is exactly the same, but different parts of speech. The opposite. We also have a trend which is to go down, and it appears like that. Again, we need nouns and verbs. All those words mean exactly the same. They all mean to go down. These are synonyms. If we have a noun, we have a verb, to decrease. A fall, to drop, to decline, to go down, to sleep. Practice 2. There was a decrease in the price of oil. The price of oil decreased. Number 1 is using a noun. Number 2 is using a verb. Follow the example and you try number 3 up to 11. Next, we have a movement which is to go up a lot. To go up a lot means to jump maybe from 10 to 50, from 20 to 90. That is to go up a lot. But we are not going to say to go up a lot. We are going to use these words. Again, we have nouns and verbs. A surge, an upsurge, a jump, a leap, a takeoff, to surge. A surge, all these words mean to go up a lot. To upsurge, to jump, to leap, to take off, to rocket. They all mean the same thing. They are synonyms. Practice. There was a surge in the price of oil, meaning the price of oil went up a lot. The price of oil surged. Number 1 is a noun. Number 2 is a verb. Practice the rest of the words by making sentences. We also have the opposite, to go down a lot. On the line graph, it will appear like that. Again, we have nouns and verbs. A plunge, a slump, a crash, a tumble, a sink, to plunge. This means to go down a lot. To slump, to crash, to tumble, to sink. To tumble. Follow the example and you try out number 3 up to 10. We also have change of direction. When you see something like this, when you see something like that on a graph, that is a change of direction. It is called an upturn. Of course, when you say an upturn, that is a noun. So the sentence is, there was an upturn, if it appears like that. We also have the opposite. A downturn looks like that, and then you go down. First go up. If you see something like that and you wish to explain it, you say, there was a downturn, or the price of oil downturned. Next, we have that. It goes up, it comes back to the same position. Go up and come back to the same position. To fall back to a previous level. We also have stable, no change. If there is no change, we use these words. To remain stable, to level off, to stay at the same level, to remain constant, to stagnate, to stabilize. If there is no change, you can always use any of these phrases. I want you to notice that the verbs rise, grow, increase, and so on are not followed by the preposition up. You don't say rise up, grow up. The preposition up is omitted. The verbs fall, drop, decrease, and so on are not followed by the preposition down. We also have many changes. When you see something which looks like that, those are many changes. So we said to fluctuate, or fluctuated, or there was a fluctuation. We also have a highest point. When you are describing graphs, it is important to look for the highest point, and we can use this language. Peaked. The price of oil peaked. We also have to peak, reach a peak. The price of oil reached a peak. Topped out. The price of oil topped out. We also have the lowest point. You also look out for the lowest point and you describe that, you explain that. To reach a low point, to bottom out. We also have the change in the y, in the x-axis. The x-axis is used to emphasize a change in time. So the x, the horizontal x, is the time axis. It answers question how fast, the speed, how long. Number 1, very slow. When you see a line like that, that means the speed, not too slow. Slow, and then number 3, fast. Number 2, slow. Number 1, very slow. Remember, you have to use your eyes to look at the graph. Now we need adjectives. When you are describing the x-axis, you can use adjectives like an abrupt increase or decrease. 3, a sudden, a rapid. An abrupt, abruptly. There was an abrupt increase in the price of oil. The price of oil increased abruptly. Sentences. There was an abrupt increase. Abrupt is adjective, increase is a noun. Number 2, the price of oil increased abruptly. Here we are using a verb and adverb. Follow the example and you try the rest of the numbers. We also have change in the y-axis. The y-axis is also called the quantity, the number axis. It can be a small change in the number, a big or a very big. We use adjectives and verbs. We can use a dramatically. In a sentence, we can say there was a dramatic increase in the price of oil. The price of oil increased dramatically. It's important to show the examiner that you can use parts of speech. Practice the rest of the numbers.